Here's a question from Ask.com. What is North Carolina barbecue? You can get the answer now at Ask.com and enter the Ask.com NASCAR Challenge at the official search engine of NASCAR.
Just know, being from Kentucky, I ask myself that question all the time.
All right, Scott Riggs has given up the lead to make an appearance on pit road. And remember Mark Martin for that tire that rolled out on pit road. He is now headed to the back of the field.
And Mike, we need to add that Jimmie Johnson, he will restart this race where he came on the pit road. Even though he had to get that push with that 48 car, when we have a red flag and they shut the engines off, they do not penalize a team as long as the car will eventually crank with the push.
Okay. There's some interesting things in there. Oh, Digger, where you been all day, man? The sun came out, and what did he do? He popped his head out.
Does that mean 6 more weeks of spring, or what happens here? I'm not too sure.
I would say it's even wet down in that hole as much as it's raining.
I do know when the alarm clock went off this morning, it felt like Groundhog Day.
Yeah, I have to agree. But
here
this
we
is
are.
Back to my routine now.
Yes.
This is what I trained for. This is the way I've had it planned.
322 laps to go, 122 laps to the halfway point, after which, if rain put a damper on this thing, the race would be able to be called official. It's Kyle Busch, Carl Edwards, David Rudiman, Jamie McMurray, and Joey Logano as we get set to go back to green.
A lot of anticipation here. The sun's out. Rubber got washed off again. A lot of anticipation. What's she going to be like now, especially with those first 4 cars? Remember, right side tires only for Kyle Busch, Carl Edwards, David Rudiman, and Jamie McMurray.
Green flag. We're back underway in the Coca-Cola 600.
You know, a lot of times these guys will complain a little bit about the residue from the jet fuel. But I tell you what races I've watched lately, the track just seems to be like it would be really fast right now.
Here comes Rudiman for second on the inside.
You know, we just had started talking about him when that rain came. He started back in the 21st position, had just cracked the top 10. Rodney Childers goes with 2 right side tires. Here he is battling for second with Carl Edwards.
But the cars with 4 tires are closing in on that front group and in a hurry.
That's just the 2-tire deal right now to me with the track the way it is, things change the way they are. That's a short-term gain for just a really bad long-term loss in my mind. I know it looks good right now.
Kane and Jimmie Johnson on the move, closing up on the leaders.
Tell you, another car on the move is that 48 car of Jimmie Johnson. I think they were glad to be able to get to pit road and get 4 tires and more adjustments on this Lowe's car.
Thinking about 3 wide here.
Yeah, a lot of slicing and dicing back in here right now, as you can see.
And it's Casey Kane who moves up into 5th in the number 9.
Ooh, that 48 car's got a nice run here off.
Boy, 3 wide though off turn 4.
3 wide in the middle 3.
Something's got to give, boys.
Still in the middle, you're clear high.
I think McMurray learned his lesson from practice Saturday.
Krista?
Mike, Larry, Darrell, you guys have been talking about the 2 tires versus 4 tires decision for Jimmie Johnson and Chad Knaus. When we talked to him there during that brief rain delay, you heard Jimmie talk about that he dared his team to loosen his car up. It was just way too tight in practice, and yeah, it was very loose. So not only was the 4 tires he took important, it was important for them to tighten up his car too.
Yeah, Krista, I think he took those 2 tires earlier, and that didn't work on that 48 car, so he backed that strategy up a little bit.
Second place battle, you're right in the middle of it. There is David Rudiman just ahead. Carl Edwards, his Ford in the middle.
Don't overdrive your entry, you look good like that.
And Joey Logano, the rookie.
But Joey Logano, he's got his hands full of that 48 car, Jimmie Johnson, that we just spoke about. As Johnson has cracked the top 5, working on 4th place Logano.
I got to quit looking at the 4th turn. I got to look at the 1st turn, because about half the cars come off turn 4. You can see the whole number on the side of it.
Next week, we're at Dover International Speedway in Delaware. The Autism Speaks 400. A great race to end the NASCAR on Fox portion of this 2009 season, presented on Fox by McDonald's.
Excited to get there, Mike. Got a brand new pit road, something we've been complaining about and asking for a long, long time. I hear it's primo.
Boy, Casey Kane, Larry, has tried every groove on this racetrack in the last 2 or 3 laps.
Well,
he found one he liked?
Yeah, he just got by the 20 car of Logano, but I think a lot of that had to do with the fact Logano got a little out of shape right in the middle of 1 and 2, and Casey went to the high side in 1 and 2, just like he is in 3 and 4.
Look who's coming behind them. Matt Kenseth in yellow and green, and Juan Pablo Montoya there in the red and white Target car. They have made a quick march up to the back of this lead pack. Kenseth won the first 2 races of the year, Daytona and California, winless since, as he told us during the rain delay.
Boy, that's frustrating off turn 2 over there. You can make such great time right into 1 through the middle of 1 and 2, but the guy on the outside just has a huge advantage off of turn 2. Just not enough grip down low.
And it looks like McMurray in that 26 car, they're paying the price for those 2 right side tires only. I'm with you, Darrell. I think I've seen enough. Right now, I don't want just 2 right side tires.
Larry, and you know, I mean, that could work out good for you later on today, but I think with this track getting washed off, not having any rubber in it, you need to keep 4 fresh tires on your car right now.
Look at Kenseth, though. In that 17, he is picking off, Darrell, a car, a lap, and then some.
Yeah, he's in a hurry. He must have radar in his car.
Now watch what just happened in turn 4 to Kyle Busch, running 1.2 seconds ahead of Rudeman all by himself.
Now what did I just tell y'all? Stop watching turn 4. Because
right.
About 2/3 of the cars come through there. Something like that happens almost every lap.
Yeah, because he gave up almost a second on that last lap back to David Rudeman in that 00 car with that happening.
And a race car will do that, Larry. You know this. It's almost like you're driving that thing, everything is perfect. It's like someone flipped the switch and the handle just goes right away that quickly.
Well, I don't think we stress enough where that happened. That car's still well over 150 miles an hour.
Kyle Busch's lead is stabilized. It's a 2.5 over David Rudeman. Carl Edwards, Jimmy Johnson, Casey Kane.